Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive with us. Today, we'll be looking at the Libra personality.
Very cool.
And we're really going to try to go deeper than just your typical, sun sign stuff that you might find in your, daily horoscope.
Right.
We'll be taking Linda Goodman's book as our source here.
It's awesome.
And, even if you're not a Libra yourself, I think this can be really helpful to kind of understand this sign.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because we all have Libras in our lives.
For sure.
Friends, family,
Yeah.
Maybe even a special someone.
Right.
And so
It's really important.
it's good to know.
Yeah, and Goodman, I think, does a really good job of going beyond just the typical harmonious and balanced life.
Wait, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's where things get really fascinating.
Yeah.
Is because, right off the bat, Goodman highlights what I call the Libra paradox.
Okay.
And that is that, they love peace and harmony, but they can also be fiercely argumentative.
They can crave beauty, but sometimes get drawn to excess.
Mm.
And they're deeply intellectual, but also surprisingly naive at times.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can all of these things coexist?
And that's the thing that's so interesting about it is it's not like, with a Gemini where it can feel like they're being two-faced.
Yeah.
It's really, a Libra is just this constant internal struggle to weigh every option. It's like, imagine those scales constantly shifting, trying to find that point of equilibrium.
Right.
That's what's happening in a Libra's mind.
Right. So it's not just about external harmony.
Right.
It's about this internal struggle to kind of find this balance.
Totally. Yeah, that's why they seem so contradictory. Because everything is processed through this lens of balance, from emotions to decisions to actions.
Goodman gives this great example. She says that you could hear a Libra say, "I'm going to break your nose," but in the sweetest, most charming voice.
Right.
Imaginable.
It's because for a Libra, even a threat can be delivered with that signature Libra diplomacy and grace.
Yeah.
Right. They've weighed, the pros and cons and all the angles and have landed on a decision.
Right.
And this is how they're communicating it.
Yeah. So that's a great illustration of how that internal balancing act plays out in their actions.
Absolutely. And, speaking of Libra and appearances, this is another area where Goodman kind of goes deeper than the stereotype.
Yeah.
We hear about Libras being associated with beauty.
Right.
And, while that's true, it's more nuanced than just having striking features.
So it's not just conventional attractiveness.
Right. Exactly.
There's something more to it.
Goodman talks about a Libra's beauty as more about pleasantness and harmony, the way their features work together in this pleasing way.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they don't fit conventional beauty standards, it's like Venus, their ruling planet, has bestowed upon them, a certain refinement and grace.
Right. And here's a fun fact for our listeners.
Okay.
Goodman says to look out for the dimples of Venus.
Ooh.
These little indentations, usually on the cheeks or the chin, are a sign of Libra energy. Wow.
Even if someone's not a Libra sun sign.
Interesting.
It's like this little wink from Venus herself. Have you ever noticed those?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's so subtle, but it adds this softness and charm to the face.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see that, Libras are a lot more complex than just what you might see on the surface.
Definitely. Yeah.
And, this whole thing with this balancing act, it's not just about appearances.
Totally.
It really is deeply ingrained in how they think and feel.
Right. And that takes us to a Libra's decision-making process, which is heavily influenced by that need for balance.
Yeah.
Right?
And, Goodman actually mentions that Libras hate being rushed into making a choice.
Oh, yeah.
It's their worst nightmare.
It's like their scales are oh.
Right. And she actually says, if you call a Libra indecisive, they won't deny it.
Uh-huh.
They'll launch into this whole debate about the importance of careful consideration.
Right, because to them, rushing a decision is like throwing the scales completely out of whack. They need to weigh those options, consider all the perspectives,
right,
and make sure that they're making the most balanced choice.
So for our listeners out there, think about the Libras in your life. Have you ever experienced this firsthand?
Yeah.
This hesitation, this need to analyze everything.
Totally.
It's not about being difficult. It's just how they process the world.
And it's important to remember that this need for balance extends way beyond just decisions. It goes into their emotional lives, their relationships,
right,
their sense of style.
It's like their whole life is a quest for equilibrium.
It really is, yeah. It really is. And speaking of their emotional lives, that's another place where you see this need for balance constantly at play. They experience emotions so deeply, but they also have this amazing ability to step back and analyze them.
So they're not just feeling things intensely, they're processing them in a balanced way.
Exactly. Goodman calls it like an instinct for sanity.
Okay.
I think that's so insightful. It's like they have this built-in mechanism that prevents them from being swept away by their feelings.
Right.
They feel it all, the highs and lows.
Yeah.
But they have this innate ability to find their center again.
It's like they have this internal compass
Totally.
that always guides them back to equilibrium.
Exactly. And that's why Libras are often so good at mediating conflicts and helping others find peace.
Right.
Because they understand the power of emotions, but they also know how to approach them with reason and balance.
So their own emotional complexity actually makes them more empathetic and understanding of others.
Absolutely. They've been there, felt that,
Right.
and they've come out the other side.
Right.
And so they can offer this unique perspective and a calming presence to other people.
Right. This reminds me of something else that Goodman talks about, and that is the Libra's deep love of fairness and justice.
Oh, yeah. She says that they cannot stand to see anyone being treated unfairly.
Right.
And this often turns them into passionate debaters.
It's true. For them, it's not about winning an argument. It's about upholding the truth.
Right.
And making sure that everybody's being treated equitably.
Right.
It goes back to that need for balance.
Right.
They want to see things evened out.
So that's why they're always playing devil's advocate, even when they might secretly agree with you.
Exactly.
They're just trying to make sure all sides are considered.
Yeah. And that can be so valuable, especially in situations where people are afraid to speak up or challenge the status quo.
Right?
Libras are the ones that will fight for what's right, even if it's unpopular. They're not afraid to rock the boat a little bit if it means restoring balance.
Okay, so we've seen how this need for balance influences their decision-making, their emotional lives, and even their sense of justice.
Yeah.
I'm curious, though, about how this plays out in a Libra's everyday life. What about their energy levels?
Yeah. Goodman talks about this interesting contrast between bursts of energy
Yes.
and needing periods of complete rest.
Totally.
And it's not just about relaxing after a long day. It's they really need to fully recharge their batteries.
It's true. They pour so much of themselves into everything they do, whether it's work or relationships or creative pursuits. They're operating at this high frequency.
Right.
And that can be exhausting.
Goodman paints this hilarious picture of a Libra, looking completely drained, just watching someone else work.
That's such a perfect image. It's like they're experiencing the effort vicariously.
Right.
Which speaks to their empathy, but it also highlights their need for downtime. They just can't sustain that level of intensity without periods of rest and rejuvenation.
So for our listeners out there, if you're working with a Libra or you have a Libra in your life, this is important to understand.
Yeah.
Pushing them to keep going when they've hit that wall is counterproductive.
Totally. Give them the space to recharge. And they'll come back stronger and more focused.
Now, when they are in that on mode,
Yes.
Libras are known for being incredibly productive and efficient.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Goodman talks about their meticulous planning and their ability to just get things done.
It's that combination of their intellectual prowess and their need for balance that makes them so effective.
Right.
They see the big picture, they break it down into manageable steps, and they execute their plans with precision.
But they do need clear goals and structure.
Yes. That's a good point.
Right. Leaving a Libra to just figure it out on their own might not be the best approach.
Libras thrive in environments where expectations are clear.
Right.
And there's a sense of order.
Right.
They don't like ambiguity or chaos.
So if you're managing a Libra, give them that framework.
Yeah.
And watch them shine.
Totally.
They'll surprise you with their dedication and their ability to execute.
Yeah, they're not afraid of hard work as long as they understand the purpose and they have a clear path forward.
All right, we're getting a really well-rounded picture here of the Libra personality, their strengths, their quirks, and that all-important need for balance.
Yeah.
But there's still so much more to explore.
Indeed, we haven't even touched on their romantic side.
Right.
Their love of beauty and art, or their incredible ability to connect with people on a deeper level.
So much to unpack.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in our deep dive into Libra, from their paradoxical nature to their love of fairness and, those essential rest periods.
Yeah.
But we can't wrap things up without talking about the Libra heart.
Of course not. Libras are practically synonymous with love and romance, and for good reason.
Right.
Ruled by Venus, they have this deep-seated desire for connection and harmony in their relationships.
Goodman describes them as tender lovers of all that is good, clean, and lovely in the world.
Oh, wow.
So it's like they're searching for beauty in every interaction and every person that they meet.
And that's exactly the kind of beauty that they bring into their relationships. Libras are known for being romantic and charming partners. They're all about creating this peaceful and loving atmosphere, and they genuinely enjoy making their loved ones feel special.
But it's interesting, though, because they also seem to need a balance between passion and peace.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
They crave the excitement and romance, but they also value stability and security.
You hit the nail on the head.
Right.
And that can sometimes make them appear indecisive in matters of the heart.
Right.
They very carefully weigh their options, wanting to be absolutely sure they've found the perfect match.
Right.
Remember that internal scale?
Right.
It's working over time.
Always.
Yeah.
But once a Libra commits, they're truly in it for the long haul.
Absolutely.
Right. Goodman emphasizes their loyalty and devotion.
Libras highly value commitment and will put in the effort to make a relationship work.
Right.
But it's crucial to remember that they also need their independence and space.
Right.
They can't be completely consumed by a relationship.
So it's about finding that delicate balance.
Yeah.
Respecting their need for both connection and freedom. It sounds like a beautiful but kind of intricate dance.
It is.
Yeah.
But when that balance is achieved, a Libra relationship can be incredibly fulfilling, full of love and harmony and deep mutual understanding.
So we've explored the mental and emotional complexity of Libras, but we can't forget about their intellectual side.
Right.
Goodman describes them as natural bookworms and deep thinkers.
That's so true. Libras are known for their insatiable curiosity and love of learning.
Right.
They enjoy exploring new ideas, engaging in thought-provoking conversations, and they have a unique talent for seeing all sides of an issue, which makes them such fantastic problem solvers.
It's like their minds are always buzzing with possibilities.
Totally.
Goodman also mentions how much Libras enjoy wordplay and clever language.
Yeah.
They're drawn to eloquence and wit.
Yes. They appreciate beauty in all forms, whether it's a well-crafted sentence, a stunning piece of art, or a harmonious melody. This appreciation is deeply connected to the influence of Venus, their ruling planet.
Speaking of art, Goodman highlights the importance of creative expression for Libras. They have a strong connection to music, poetry, visual arts. It's how they process their emotions and connect with the world around them.
It gives them a channel to express their inner world and share its beauty with others.
Right.
If you have a Libra friend who's an artist, encourage their creativity.
Yes.
It's vital for their well-being.
It's like giving them a way to channel all that mental and emotional energy into something tangible and meaningful.
Exactly.
Well, I think we've painted a pretty comprehensive portrait of the Libra personality, their strengths, their quirks, their love life, even their intellectual pursuits.
I agree. We've seen how that fundamental need for balance influences every facet of their being, from their relationships to their careers and creative endeavors.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, I'm wondering, what can our listeners take away from all this? Why should understanding Libra matter, even if they're not a Libra themselves?
Because chances are we all have Libras in our lives.
All right.
They're our friends, colleagues, family members, perhaps even our romantic partners.
Right.
And understanding their unique perspective allows us to approach those relationships with greater empathy and compassion.
It's about recognizing their strengths, respecting their need for space and balance, and appreciating their deep desire to bring harmony and beauty into the world.
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, we can learn a little something from the Libra approach to life.
Right.
Perhaps we can all strive to cultivate more balance and harmony within ourselves and in the world around us.
That's a great thought to leave our listeners with.
Yeah.
So as you go about your day, think about the scales of balance in your own life. Where do you see imbalance?
Yeah.
What small adjustments could you make to create a greater sense of equilibrium?
It's definitely something to ponder. We always love hearing from our listeners, so share your own experiences or questions about Libra on our social media. Until next time, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. I